What is going on? Welcome back to finjourney. So today I want to talk to you on ChargePoint, everyone's stock that they love to hate. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what is truly happening, and the scary price prediction that is just coming out. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So today it did pull back 5.07%. Broader market did also sell off at the same time, largely because of just the major stocks out there are overbought. So this is kind of just a necessary pullback, but that's being magnified so much more with a lot of stocks that didn't really participate fully in that nice run that did happen near the tail end of December. So ChargePoint, like I said, has just been lagging for a very long time. So 5.07% in the red, 15.02 million shares being traded, 21.09 is the average. These are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000. So despite the somewhat okay volume, big money is not getting in. Plain as day. So a lot of smaller transactions, and based on everything, it looks like more institutions are exiting rather than getting in. Similarly, if you look right here, number of retail investors have been getting out. So a lot of people are just, I guess, discouraged with ChargePoint, and rightfully so. They do have their upcoming earnings coming down the pipeline. I don't believe they have actually disclosed the date yet, but a lot of people are going to be watching that very, very closely. When it comes down to some of the data points, though, it's mixed. So today there was no news from ChargePoint itself, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So it was just piggybacking off of the broader market. There was the FOMC meeting minutes that did come out, which did signal that they might not be cutting the rates as soon as what was previously thought. So as you can kind of see, last week there was a almost 90% chance that the Feds were going to be starting to cut rates in March or as early as March. Now that has reduced down to 70%. So a little bit more of a, I guess, realization that is coming across the broader market. And when it comes to the next couple of days, so on Thursday and Friday, two very big indicators linked to consumers. So that might once again reconfirm this downtrend that the broader market is starting to come out with, or it might cause a nice kind of bounce from there. I just want to play this one quick video before I go over some of the data points and as well that new price prediction that did come out. So this one, they're talking on what's been happening over the last several days, whether it is just a temporary pause in that year-end rally that a lot of stocks have gone on, or if this is something potentially bigger. So stay tuned.
January jitters. The major average is currently on track to snap that 9-week winning streak. But is this just a pause in the market's momentum or the start of a deeper pullback? Let's ask Chris Heisey, CIO of Maryland Bank of America Private Bank. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Scott. Great to be here.
So what is your outlook? Because I think you were pretty cautious through much of 23. Now we've turned the calendar. Have you turned your view?
Well, actually, no, not a big turn in view. We were so-called balanced. We were right on our strategic targets the entire time. We thought that stocks and bonds would have a reasonably good year. Obviously, bonds didn't for most of it, and then stocks ultimately took off the last two months of the year. So we basically had a year in 2 months, as you've widely discussed. We've been balanced. What does that mean? It's fully invested. We picked our spots here or there. Sectors didn't work too well for most people, including us. But certainly being dedicated to U.S. large caps for most of the year, if not all of the year, really helped. We haven't changed our tune. I think it's really important to know that going balanced into next year with still high unpredictability is really important, but also staying fully invested, and that's the key. You know, most of the time in the markets is much better than timing the markets, and you and I have talked a lot about this over the years, and I'll say this. If you know the wedge in the markets going into a year, you have a very good, reasonable chance of not just outperforming, but staying on goal. What's the wedge last year? Inflation. We got that out of the way. What's the wedge this year? It's probably fiscal restraint, not to mention geopolitics and politics. If we can get that.
Okay, so obviously it just kind of extends that same mentality, but ultimately transferring that over to ChargePoint, it's kind of mixed because clearly, as he was starting to allude to, upcoming earnings. That is going to dictate success in 2024. And I feel like a lot of analysts are very focused on the large caps, whereas they are neglecting a lot of the mid to small cap companies, such as even ChargePoint. And looking at this stock, it is not about being in the market. I feel like even ChargePoint, it is about timing, especially based on what has been happening. Like the prediction I'm going to talk on in a second is not good. So let me know your thoughts. I personally do feel that there is a broader pullback that does need to happen, but potentially with the actual CPI data coming out next week, I believe. So the next one is on January the 11th. That could be the market's saving grace. So I feel like the broader market is going to continue to trend down up until this point. But then again, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. Starting off with shorts. So shorts were not hesitant whatsoever. They doubled down. So they increased 1.94 million shares today. 22.28% of the free float is being shorted. 85.31 million shares overall are being shorted, and through interactive brokers, short availability does indicate around 2.4 million shares available to be shorted. Cost of borrow average is very low, in fact lower than yesterday, so 4.04% is that average. So obviously, I've said in the past, I don't see ChargePoint being a short squeeze play whatsoever. Maybe Q4 2024 when they unveil that mysterious new product that they didn't really kind of talk on, but maybe that might be it. But up until then, like, shorts are going to dictate exactly what happens with ChargePoint. Going over some options. So looking on today, $231,000 in calls being purchased versus 12 million in puts. Sentiment wise, majority of it was kind of neutral. So 72% was neutral. And I feel like that has to do more so with the technicals. People maybe are not really knowing where ChargePoint has gone, because over the last year, especially with 2023 now concluding, you can kind of look back, ChargePoint has gone down 77%. Is that justified? I would say no. Is it a downtrend justified? Yes. Probably 25% to 30% is more realistic. So I feel like this is where a lot of people are starting to look at the price and say, is that justified? So this is why you do see a lot of neutral options versus just bearishness taking over. Looking right here though, of the call options that are being purchased, there is a consensus that it is going to be above $2 by the end of next week. So clearly with us being at 208, not much optimism for that. Looking at puts, it is anticipated to be sub $1.50 by January the 19th. So not necessarily the best when it comes down to that. But of course, when I like to look at technicals, I like to look at some of the fib levels, strong support and resistance points, moving averages, and whatever else. If you are a fan of the Elliott wave, which a lot of people are, it is predicting mass panic coming. Especially it does show the pivot point being $2.83. So as long as ChargePoint is below this pivot point right here, it is estimated to be going anywhere between 84 cents and $1.17 in the short term, meaning within the next month to 2 months. Not the best, clearly, as you can kind of tell, because if it does break below $1, then ChargePoint will be going down that route of doing reverse stock splits and many other things. So this would be absolutely horrific. Potentially something that could magnify it to go down there or down this route would be the upcoming earnings. So far, I've been monitoring what analysts have been doing. No real change for that. So let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think it's realistic, or what's your viewpoint on all of that? As well, latest Morningstar report does show the fair market value for ChargePoint being $2.50. So let me know your thoughts on all that. When it comes down to some of the fib levels and support points, things that you need to know. So with it closing at 206, it is between this S1 and the pivot. So $2.42 is going to be that next strong resistance, and $1.92 is going to be the next strong support. But regardless, you do see a pretty wide gap right here, so there's going to be a hell of a lot of volatility, so just be very comfortable with that. And if it does break this $1.92, then there's a good indication that there would be another all-time low being created, because the next support would be $1.60, and then prior to that would be $1.09. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Have you been part of the retail that has been selling, and you can tell that based on the momentum indicator? Or have you been been buying. What's your thoughts on ChargePoint? Stochastic though is at 21. So like I said, over the last several days, the broader market has been selling off because a lot of the major players in the game have been overbought. Whereas ChargePoint is kind of the opposite. So with it being now at 21, or I guess 10 right below that, it is essentially oversold. So ChargePoint is completely inverse to the broader market. So it kind of sucks the fact that it's going down with the broader market, but didn't really participate in the uptrend. So what's your thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And what's your thoughts on this price prediction that I talked on? Do you think $1 is realistic, or do you think that's too far-fetched? I don't know. To me, it kind of seems a little bit far-fetched, but so far, not necessarily with ChargePoint, but with a lot of other stocks, like L8Wave has been almost dead on over the last month and a half. So who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, even though ChargePoint goes down, up, all over the place, take advantage of this promo. It has been extended up until January the 15th. Sign up for an account with Moo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals in the market. Take advantage of this while you can. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.